Right, I am back with another Destiny 2 video, and it's a kind of serious topic today. As serious as I can make it with a tired-looking corgi in the background. Wanted to talk today about developer harassment, and things are getting pretty bad out there. You know, complaining about Destiny is like a pastime of the game. Like, there's always something to complain about in Destiny, whether you want something fixed or a change was made that was bad. That's the part of any game, but especially Destiny, because it's always being developed and all things are changing all the time. So that happens more than most. What is not okay is when developers themselves are getting personally attacked and are doing so in part because they are choosing to be open with communication and transparency. I am not necessarily talking to you, my loyal YouTube viewers, who I'm sure have never harassed anyone online for any reason. But this is kind of a general commentary on the Destiny community lately, and as a quote-unquote leader in it, I feel like I should say something based on the events of the last week, especially. So I think this started with just Season of the Haunted's premiere in general. Like, I think the vibes have been off in terms of, I think Bungie was very, very excited to launch the season, and then it was not necessarily received as well as they would have liked it to be. That is true both in terms of Solar 3.0, even the Leviathan coming back to a certain extent. Evie, you're undermining my very serious video here. And it just, people were not really satisfied with the way things are going. Then Iron Banner showed up, and Rift came with its own set of issues. But since then, we've seen a lot of different harassment. Oh God, Evie. Of a lot of different members of the Bungie development team, where Liana posted something as a community manager about how criticism is fine, but people were making personal threats against her, and that they would like lose access to community managers' social accounts because they were their personal accounts, and that is not okay. What really triggered this video is what happened with Kevin Yanes, where he is the sandbox lead who wrote a really, I thought, very thoughtful part of the TWAB this week about like admitting that his team failed to hit their goals of the reaction to the solar sandbox, so they were working overtime to like try and do some really quick buffs here, even at the expense of other stuff, like to make sure some of those issues were fixed. And he was very forthright about like, you know, we didn't quite meet our goals with this, and we're going to keep working on it. And then I think what really sparked everything was he said something about how he confirmed once and for all that Titans were never going to get air dodge back, meaning Twilight Garrison was never going to come back. And then he just, that's the #1 story on Reddit. A lot of people were harassing him for that. And he clarified, he's like, this isn't to say Titans are never going to get any movement tools. It's just that specific thing is something that we wanted to put with Warlocks. And you could disagree with that. I don't know if I necessarily agree with like, oh, only Warlocks can air dodge, because Titans had air dodge in Destiny 1. Like, you can debate that point. But the point is here is that he was so harassed about this that he deleted all of his tweets forever. And I retweet him a lot because I think he's very funny and insightful and has a lot of good stuff to say. And that's a real shame. And I also think in this case, I don't know, the Destiny community can overreact about a lot of stuff. I've done it in the past, certainly. And yet, I don't know. What I'm seeing here between, especially Solar 3.0 reactions and Iron Banner Rift reactions, is I don't think people are really on point here. I think everyone very much jumped to too many kind of conclusions with Solar 3.0 within, I don't know, 6 hours of it going live. And Hunters, I think everyone figured out was okay. Titans have, you know, lost some things in their kit, but are pretty much can be immortal now and can do all sorts of crazy things that people are kind of discovering now. Warlock, I agree. I didn't like the 2 movement aspects being, you know, so focused. There wasn't enough healing. And yet, I am certainly having more fun with Solar Warlock right now than I ever have on Solar Warlock. There are so many different strong builds. The Starfire Protocol one is I've never used that before, but Solar 3.0 has made that absolutely fantastic. There's double Clouds of Akamara for double melee. There's even Wings of Sacred Dawn now after this new buff is going to be even good, like even better. There's Dawn Chorus for big super damage and more burning, and actually I don't know if that triggers on Scourge. I have to look that up. But and Sunbracers is more of a crazy build than normal because of all the enhanced grenades and things. And Warlock could be the weakest of Solar 3.0, sure, but I'm certainly having a very good time with it all the same. I really feel like people just rush to conclusions based on Void 3.0 and how instantly strong that was, even though, again, I think a lot of Void 3.0 was some of the seasonal mods, especially the one that gave you volatile rounds like all the time. And that is now gone, so Void isn't quite as good as you remember it either. And I do think there's some issues with Scorch stacks and things like that that are a little confusing, and yet I am having a really good time with Solar 3.0. I also think the same thing is true about Iron Banner Rift. I think 90% of the Rift complaints are about the bugs, which is fair. Shouldn't have bugs, but outside of disappearing rifts and rank issues and stuff, I absolutely think this mode is fun. I did a whole video about how I think it's fun previously. It is unlike anything we've had in Destiny for a very long time. I agree with a lot of the decisions Bungie made about Rift in terms of teleporting people back to start, the long respawn timers to encourage revives and pushing forward. I think that helps the mode as an objective-based mode in a way that is better in a lot of ways in Destiny 1 Rift that everyone is idealizing because they're forgetting about all the spawn camping and all the other crazy stuff that happened with Destiny 1 Rift. And the bugs are an issue. I wish those were caught, but fundamentally, I think Rift is a success, and people, again, were overreacting to it. You can disagree with this, but like all of this is to say that you should not be personally harassing any Bungie dev for any reason. We have gone through this many times in the past. It just seems to be escalating more and more now. I'm half expecting them to put out some sort of statement based on how bad it's gotten. I think Bungie is unique in that they really, really try to communicate with us openly and transparently in a way a lot of other developers don't, and frequently. This includes both TWAB stuff and them just talking to us on Twitter. I really enjoy my interactions with Bungie, and Kevin specifically is always willing to talk about stuff, and I think that's great. And to silence someone like him because he's getting too much of a hard time is bad. It's a huge game, so like anything you say that, you know, if you say Twilight Garrison's not coming back and that affects 100,000 Titan mains, like you will hear about it, but I think there is a difference between saying like, oh man, I wish that could come back, and like, you're an idiot, you don't know what you're doing, like, I can't believe you destroyed my favorite class, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's bullshit, and that sucks, and don't do that. So, I don't know. I find that intolerable. I am like, obviously someone who criticizes many, many things about Destiny, but I have never tried to make it personal or be like, this person or this team is the worst, and like, you know, they're so lazy, or like they've ruined the game. But like there is a difference between criticism and harassment, and parts of the community have very much crossed that line recently. And I don't even think the points they're making are right a lot of the time. And I think the community is rushing to judgment on a lot of things in this case. So that's my take on this. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else to add. This might be like a obvious video, like don't harass people, but given the current situation, I thought it needed to be said. So thanks for watching, and I will talk to you later. Take care.